rights, religious rights, sovereignty, common sense, local government. I'm getting chills. Everything we love, everything we stand for. We're committed. We recognize the attack. We're rallying patriots worldwide. We're standing up for justice, promoting the good America that the world loved. And they hate us. So we need your support now more than ever. And I don't say that in a whining way. I'm going full in against the enemy with a big fat smile on my face, loving it. I'm just saying it's a bad analogy, but it's a true analogy. Because if you use the first Tron, that's an excellent movie, when the main computer empowers its attack dog and goes, all my systems are yours, and he grows to be like 500 feet tall. You could do that for us right now, folks. You turn your systems, your prayers, your financial support, you're spreading the word more than literally InfoWars will grow up to that size. And it'll be dangerous because then the enemy will fire everything they got at us, which is what I want. I don't have a death wish, but I have a wish to be real and go 110%. And then if they destroy me and my operation, that example of us being blown sky high like the Alamo will live forever and will inspire victory. I can feel it. I know destiny is in our hands. So you got to go ramming speed. Use another movie analogy, Ben-Hur. You got to go in 110%. Fortune favors the bold. Our fortune is freedom and not being slaves. And I will fight to the death for freedom. I will never compromise. I will never waver. I will never back down. I'm 110% in. We will beat these people if you simply get that spirit. I'm not going to belabor this. I got to get into the Netanyahu analysis ahead of the free speech attack that's coming up. I'm going to simplify it and boil it down as best I can. There's just so many components that go into my analysis. That's dead on. But before we go any further, I told you we sell out of Super Male Vitality because the word's spreading about how it's concentrated, cold-pressed, known herbs and extracts that just supercharge your glands in your body. You've heard the rave reviews. It's sold out. We won't get any more for 2 to 4 weeks. The female, we're not getting more for 6 weeks. That's how long it takes once a new order gets in. We had a new order for male in 3 weeks ago, so it'll take a few more weeks to get it. Female could be in fact, the shortest is 5 to 6 weeks. There's only a very limited supply left of the Super Female Vitality, and we're doing 30% off. Most people would jack up the price. 30% off the already discounted price right now for Super Female Vitality because I want you to try it. I want you to see that we're not playing games about this stuff and what God's creations can do for you. So InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139, 888-253-3139. That's InfoWarsLife.com. We also are going to end up selling out of the Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Booster. Ancient Defense. You get a free bottle of that with 2 bottles of Survival Shield Super Nascent Iodine X2. That is selling out right now. We've got 7 days left in that sale, and that's how long we estimate it'll take to sell out at current rates. So InfoWarsLife.com or 888-253-3139. Now, let me settle down for a minute. As I start talking about how they're trying to censor us and how we're fighting, and because despite the fact they're attacking us and trying to censor us, we're still rising. And the enemy's just throwing more hooks into us, trying to hold us down like Lilliputties, and it's not working. Oh, go back to those timid souls. Crouch down and lick the hand that feeds you. As for me, give me liberty or give me death. Man, that feels good. To not live in fear, to know who the enemy is, to be clear. All right, let's stop. All right, let me just do this as simply as I can. I spent a lot of time getting into background, getting into analysis. We should probably take that whole 10-minute breakdown I did earlier when we put a YouTube out and sandwich it in to this whole clip that I'm about to get into what's happening with Israel. We will skip this network break because I need time to cover this, and it's so important. There are different power structures, different special interests involved in the world. Why is the gun lobby one of the only true conservative libertarian lobbies that has any power in this country and can defeat the will of the globalists? Because people understand that they're being disarmed to be slaves. And they won't back down on it. They get politically involved, and they give money. And they give time and energy to the Second Amendment. They put bumper stickers on their cars. They teach their friends and neighbors how to shoot. So we're winning the fight for self-defense. There's the gun lobby in the U.S. There's the big banking cartel lobby. There's the big pharma lobby. So there's the gun lobby, the big banking lobby, pharma lobby, insurance lobby, defense lobby, and the Israel lobby. So you can say there's 6 big lobbies, but really there's 5, because Big Pharma and the whole healthcare lobby is pretty much the same group. So 5 or 6 lobbies, depending on how you break it down. The Israel lobby is one of the most powerful because it's got about, let's be conservative, 10,000 times the funding of the Scientologist, and will come after you if you mess with any Israeli interest. I'm not comparing Israel to Scientologists. That's another big lobby. It's probably 20 down, but it's tiny, but people fear it. So Israel, of those 5 lobbies, is probably the weakest lobby when it comes to money, but it's got its operatives in the other lobbies. So you could argue it's the most powerful lobby. But there's infighting between these different lobbies. There's infighting in Israel. Israel's not unified. You got a bunch of people in Israel that are sick of the Likudniks, sick of Benjamin Netanyahu. There's been all these assassinations, the rest of it. Israel has its own problems. And so you've got Netanyahu, who's set for an election coming up. He's neck and neck in the polls. He needs this to grandstand and say Israel's future's on the line. You got to commit behind me or it's all over. And he could use this big speech in Congress tomorrow to legitimize an Iranian strike by Israel and Saudi Arabia, which they've both been openly saying that they will work together on. So this may be Netanyahu selling a Iran strike. That's a whole nother kettle of fish that could lead to World War III. We'll break down in a moment. And again, I'm not for it or against it. I'm being a political atheist, just giving you the pieces right now. You can make your decision. We report, you decide, to steal the Fox maxim. So Netanyahu's got selfish reasons for what he's doing. He's being attacked at home. Now enter Obama. What's Obama doing? The left, all they've got's race baiting and class warfare. They're part of the globalist operation. The Democrats totally work for the big interest, special interest, other than the Second Amendment. That's the only interest they don't control, and they hate it. That's the only thing where we put energy in to have an interest, to have a grassroots interest, to have a special interest that represents the general public. So you've got these other lobbies fighting with each other, power grabbing. And the Arabs have probably more money than the Israel lobby at this point at some levels. And so the Saudi Arabians and others are pouring money in. They're also allied with Israel. So there's a little bit of schizophrenia here. And there's juxtaposing balancing acts going on in this whole cloak and dagger situation. So you've got some of the pieces there. Obama wanted left cover to be able to expand a fake globalist Google-run Arab Spring to take over the Middle East, North Africa, and actually put radicals in for Saudi Arabia and Israel to destabilize the entire region and keep it in the Stone Age. Bring down industrialized sectors like Egypt and Libya. They've done that, but it backfired. Egypt and others withstood it. Syria withstood it. They're calling Libya a huge failure, saying al-Qaeda's murdering thousands of minds. No, that was the plan. So the military, one of the big groups, not so much the defense lobby, but the defense operatives themselves realize this big picture now, and that's why the globalists are in so much trouble. So then they had to act like they were against al-Qaeda that Saudi Arabia and others had sent into Syria. And so Obama had to come out and act like he was against them, even when he's airdropping them weapons. So here's where it gets confusing. If you're not confused yet, you've got to extrapolate all this out. Clearly, Israel and the United States and NATO were allied purely with al-Qaeda up until about 2 years ago to take down Syria, to break up Iraq and other areas. So Israel, the U.S., and others were backing al-Qaeda to engage in some of the greatest atrocities the Middle East has ever seen. When they lost because of Russian special forces, technology, and advisors, and got beaten in a bunch of battles in the last year and a half, and when they couldn't get airstrikes in Damascus and surrounding areas by the U.S. and NATO to break their back, they flipped and made a deal with Iran to double-cross the al-Qaeda people and to remove them, and then to not bring down Syria, but then to have Iran get rid of its nuclear weapons arsenal. The problem, and Iran's had nukes for at least a decade. Let me just give everybody a little news flash here. I have that from, I'm not even going to get into it, okay? High-level special forces people. They've got satellites and stuff that can see through the rock. They got bombs. Now, they can't deliver them probably. But the point is, you've got all that going on right now. You got the CIA denying it. So there's this huge balancing act going on from all these different angles and all these different sides. You've got Obama and Netanyahu insulting each other to look good with the anti-Israel crowd that makes up the body of the Democratic Party. The leadership's pro-Israel, but the body of it is anti-Semitic. I mean, if you say you disagree with the color of the sky, they call you anti-Semitic. And by anti-Semitic, I'm not saying there are things to criticize about some of the policies in Israel. It's just vitriolic, mindless, bestial. You know, you're a Jew because you don't want to blow up Israel, Alex, and Israel pays you off. You know, no proof, no evidence, no, just mindless. We're better than you. You're a Jew. We're going to kill you. So you've got that group, and Obama gets huge money from them. It's made up of Arabs, Muslims, trendies. You go to any anarchist event, it's promoted everywhere. It's sick. The left and radical Islam are allied. Netanyahu's got his right-wing base he's feeding red meat to, so they're attacking each other and fighting with each other and criticizing each other and having Kerry being overheard saying things. It's all staged. But just like you're fighting with your brother or your cousin or your buddy, sometimes it turns into a real fight when you're shadowboxing. And so now this has escalated up where Israel, still in the south, is backing some of the rebels and giving ambulance support to al-Qaeda. That's on record. That's in Israeli papers. But meanwhile, they are getting ready to hit Iran. And they're pulling back some of their support for al-Qaeda in Iraq. And so what it looks like, as best I can tell, that Free Syrian Army that's really al-Qaeda, once the U.S. started double-crossing them with Iran, Israel supported them for a while and kind of threatened the West to run in and take over part of Iraq, with Saudi Arabia giving the funding and weapons. And now that isn't going too well, so Israel's pulling back from that support, while talking out of both sides of their mouth, and it's a giant disaster mess, and Iran has manipulated with Russia out on top. So they threw a big fit and went and attacked Ukraine, but now the West is losing that. And it is just a giant mess. And as best I can tell, it's now boiled down to pure politics, and historically when politicians and different mafias cannot get out of a mess, they'll start a war. So Netanyahu is more and more maneuvering towards an Iran strike backed by Saudi Arabia without U.S. support. And he said that at AIPAC this morning. He said, you know, we'll strike countries without your authorization, without your support. Iran will attack Israel. Israel will start using nukes. Russia will probably retaliate with nukes we know they've got in Syria. And you're off to the races. So there you go. Forget whose side you're on. There is no side here. This is a giant you-know-what sandwich, and I don't want to take a bite out of it. And I just want to commend George Soros and Obama and the globalists and all of you. You people have done a horrible job of, quote, taking over. You're just going to blow the planet up. I mean, at a certain point, like Hitler thinking he had a plan to attack Russia, no, these aren't good plans. Stop it. Stop it. And some will argue, well, see, Obama's right. We don't want to attack Iran. They've been attacking Iran through proxies. It's all just a bunch of double-crossing scum. I mean, that's what we've come down to here, is just a bunch of dishonorable people, rudderless, with a bunch of backstabbing as we lurch towards World War III. Stay with us. Second hour coming up.
Visit GCNlive.com today.
Alex Jones here. For the last 2 years, I've been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to design a nutraceutical formulation that has truly life-changing health benefits. So many other formulations out there contain toxic ingredients, synthetic additives, and even GMOs. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. Now is the time to secure ancient defense for you and your family. Visit InfoWarsLife.com or call 1-888-253-3139. That's InfoWarsLife.